Hey! Welcome back to Don't Visit Europe, the only travel channel where we beg you to stay home. Or at least to stop romanticizing countries that treat tourists like walking ATMs with body odor. Today's episode, France. Oui, the land of wine, art, romance, and unrelenting passive aggression. Because let me tell you, nothing screams bon voyage like a stranger sighing at you in cursive. France is that ex you can't stop fantasizing about, but every time you go back, you remember they smoke indoors, they ghost you mid-conversation, and they charge you for bread you didn't ask for. I went there once. I came back fluent in trauma and secondhand embarrassment. It's the only place where a 5-star experience comes with 0 stars of customer service. Now, you might think, how bad can it be? It's France, it's cultured, it's refined. Yeah, so is a guillotine. But I won't give you all the answers. That'd be way too French of me.
If you really want to understand what's going on over there, stick around and read between the baguettes.
This is a deep dive into snobbery, scams, soufflés, and systemic sarcasm. Because behind every picturesque French street, there's probably someone peeing on it. So, if you're into overpriced croissants, invisible service, and public transport that goes on strike more often than it runs, this one's for you. Like the video, subscribe if you've ever been emotionally wounded by a waiter, and drop a comment below. What's the most overrated place you've ever visited? Let's argue respectfully. Or not. This is France, after all. Paris. The city of love, lights, and long lines that smell like fear and sunscreen. Everyone dreams of going to Paris, until they actually go. Because Paris isn't a city, it's a beautifully choreographed trap, with overpriced souvenirs, unpredictable plumbing, and pigeons that mug you in broad daylight. Let's start with the Holy Grail, the Eiffel Tower, the one structure that has turned more necks than chiropractors. But here's the thing, no one tells you what it's like at the bottom of it. You wait 90 minutes in line to go up a metal skeleton that looks cooler on postcards and better from far away, like France's reputation. You get to the top and realize it's windy, it's crowded, and guess what? You can't even see the Eiffel Tower from the Eiffel Tower. Groundbreaking. Meanwhile, at the bottom, a battalion of men sells blinking towers that light up like Vegas keychains. And if you dare say non merci, they follow you like you just insulted their ancestors. The elevators? Tiny. Packed. Smell like collective regret. The stairs? A cardio punishment France invented to test your commitment to disappointment. Then there's the Louvre, home of the Mona Lisa, the woman who launched 1,000 selfies and disappointed all of them. You shuffle into a room the size of a closet, elbowing 40 tourists from 12 time zones, only to squint at a painting smaller than a pizza box behind 5 layers of glass, while someone's iPad blocks your view. You pay 17 euros to stand behind 200 people, take a blurry photo of a blurry painting, and then lie to yourself. It was worth it. Meanwhile, the rest of the museum is a labyrinth of Greek statues and confused tourists asking, wait, are we still in France? Marseille, the misunderstood cousin of the French Riviera. Beautiful from a distance, dangerous up close. Basically the French version of a mirage, seductive, salty, and full of scams. You arrive thinking, Mediterranean breeze, fresh seafood, colorful boats. What you get, a port full of pickpockets, overpriced sardines, and seagulls that commit petty theft. Let's begin with Marseille's most iconic Instagram lie, the Vieux Port. At first glance, it's stunning. Boats rocking gently, sun glistening on the water. But lean in closer and you'll see 1,000 tourists melting in the sun, locals yelling at each other, and a faint smell of low tide and fermented regret. Every 5 minutes, someone tries to sell you a boat tour. Every 10 minutes, someone tries to sell you your own wallet back. It's a place where the fish are fresh, but the scams are fresher. There's always a guy selling authentic bouillabaisse out of a food truck with Spanish license plates. The buses? Don't count on them. The sun? Relentless. The benches? Occupied by local philosophers shouting about Marseille's soul. It's deep. It's chaotic. It's Marseille. The Panier is the oldest quarter of Marseille, which sounds charming until you realize it's also the least maintained. The buildings are cute, the streets are narrow, the stairs are eternal. It's like a postcard, if the postcard gave you shin splints. There are art galleries that are just closets with incense, cafes that serve €6 espressos with attitude, and shops that specialize in selling things that don't fit in suitcases. Oh, and Wi-Fi? Forget it. You're in artisanal offline mode now. Welcome to Lyon, the self-proclaimed gastronomic capital of France, where you'll eat well, cry often, and get lost. Usually in that order. It's like Paris had a quieter, more smug cousin who cooks better, but still judges you for pronouncing bouchon wrong. And while food is Lyon's main attraction, the city itself is built like a psychological experiment. Stairs that never end, rivers that divide you emotionally, and maps that mock your sense of direction. Let's begin where all Lyonnais pride converges: the food. Welcome to the heartburn capital, the Bouchons de Lyon. Bouchons are small traditional restaurants where everything tastes like butter, liver, or confusion. They're famous for authentic Lyonnais cuisine, which apparently includes things like pig snout salad, cold tripe, and sausages that smell like old regrets. And yes, the portions are generous, but so are the passive-aggressive stares when you ask what's actually in your dish. It's the only place where you pay €27 to be gastronomically humbled. The menus, handwritten, in cursive, in French, on purpose. Because if you can't translate gratin d'andouillette, maybe you don't deserve to eat. Next, you ascend to Fourvière, the hilltop basilica with one of the best views in Lyon. Assuming you survive the journey, you can take the funicular, a train designed in 1900 that moves slower than a tourist ordering coffee. Or you can climb thousands of cobbled stairs built to remind you that baguettes have consequences. Once at the top, you'll be greeted by a basilica that looks like someone copy-pasted 3 churches into one. It's impressive, it's confusing, it's Lyon. And just when you think the descent will be easier, surprise, you're lost again. Because Lyon is a maze with better marketing. Nice, pronounced Nice, but spelled like how it pretends to treat tourists. It's the jewel of the Côte d'Azur, the playground of the rich, and the graveyard of modest expectations. People come here chasing the dream, beaches, cocktails, yachts, but you end up chasing your receipts, your shade, and your will to live on a gravel-filled sidewalk they call a beach. Let's begin where all tourist feet go to suffer. The legendary Promenade des Anglais. It's long, it's famous, it's paved with promise. And by promise, I mean smooth concrete and emotional manipulation. Here you can walk alongside the Mediterranean, burning alive under the Côte d'Azur sun, while rollerbladers and speedos nearly sideswipe your dignity. The promenade has one rule. Shade is for the rich, sunburn is for the hopeful. And if you want to sit on a chair, that's 8 euros per hour, monsieur. Ah, and the beaches. Made of stones, not sand. Because Nice wants to exfoliate your expectations. And your spine. Then you enter the Old Town, a colorful, twisted maze of alleyways. And overpriced lavender soap. It smells like baked piss and basil, looks like a postcard, and feels like an Instagram filter for heat exhaustion. The buildings are charming, yes, until you realize they were designed to trap body heat. And tourists. There's always someone playing the accordion. Always. They don't stop. You leave before they do. And every corner cafe offers a 12 euro espresso, served with a shrug. Authentic disdain included. No charge.
Lille.
The city that asks, what if we took the charm of Belgium and removed the warmth? Lille is France's northern secret, and not the fun kind. It's cold, it's brick, it's gray, and it knows you didn't plan to come here. It's the kind of place you end up when your train to Paris gets canceled, and suddenly you're surrounded by 19th century buildings, windburn, and a sudden craving for waffles. Let's start at the most iconic deception of all, the Grand Place. It's grand. It's a place. It's also where you realize no one in Lille is ever warm. Not emotionally, not meteorologically. The square is surrounded by buildings that scream, "We were occupied," several times. It's like Baroque architecture went through seasonal depression. There are cafes with views of nothing, people who pretend to enjoy sitting outside in 3 degrees Celsius, and pigeons that have seen too much. The fountain, it's always off. The smiles, also off. It's the kind of place where even your hot chocolate feels like a passive-aggressive insult. Then there's La Piscine, an art museum inside a repurposed swimming pool. Because nothing says culture like pretending you're not standing where someone once did laps. The building is beautiful, the art is modern, but the experience, weirdly humid and vaguely existential. You wander past sculptures while your brain screams, why is this towel rack considered postmodern? It's the only museum where the changing rooms are part of the experience. And the lifeguards are now docents. Progress? Honestly, I left with more questions than I arrived with. Like, why does the gift shop sell swimwear? Strasbourg, the city with a personality crisis. Is it French? Is it German? Is it an architectural fever dream with an identity complex? Yes. You go there expecting charming canals and European harmony and end up in a Disney village with political trauma and sauerkraut breath. Let's begin in the most misleadingly named place on the map, Petite France. Spoiler, it's neither petite nor particularly French. Petite France is what would happen if Pinterest designed a town. Half-timbered houses, flowers and windows, and bridges made for photo shoots, but also smells weirdly like wet wood and tourist sweat. It's gorgeous, yes, until you realize it's a trap. Every restaurant serves the same overpriced choucroute and flammacouche, and the waiters pretend not to speak English until you try bad French. Then they correct you with pride and pain in their eyes. You'll wander charming alleys for hours trying to find something authentic, and end up buying a 19 euro magnet shaped like a stork in lederhosen. Why? Because nothing makes sense anymore. And by the way, don't fall into the canal. It's shallow, symbolic, and full of broken selfie sticks. Next up, the cathedral. Built to impress God, but mostly impresses tourists with vertigo. It's massive, it's Gothic, it's aggressively pointy. Standing under it feels like you're about to be judged by God and your travel budget. You can climb to the top, it's just 332 steps. Fun fact, that's the exact number of regrets you'll have halfway up. Inside, beautiful stained glass, eerie silence, and an astronomical clock that's so dramatic you'd think it was built by an emo teenager with a divination complex.
Bordeaux, where everything is elegant, expensive, and ever so slightly sticky. You go there expecting sophistication, refinement, and wine. And yes, there is wine. Everywhere. So much so that at some point, you'll pay 12 euros to drink what tastes like grape juice fermented in the trunk of a Peugeot. Bordeaux is the kind of city that dresses up just to ignore you. Chic on the outside, but on the inside, a show of queues, elitism, and fine drizzle. Let's start where the city's ego ferments. La Cité du Vin. This is it. The mecca of wine snobbery. An architectural blob that looks like a decanter melting under the city hall's fiscal pressure. You pay 22 euros to walk through interactive exhibits about how wine is made. But none of them explain why your free tasting is 40 milliliters of disappointment. Touchscreens everywhere, smells piped in through tubes, and a gift shop where you can buy a corkscrew worth more than your hotel room. It's not a museum. It's a vineyard-themed fever dream where tourists pretend they understand tannins. And if you ask for Vin Rouge and pronounce the G, they call security. The postcard image of Bordeaux, beautiful buildings reflected perfectly on a giant puddle, Le Mirador. What no one tells you is, kids run around screaming, tourists slip every 15 minutes, and the whole thing smells like chlorine and disappointment. You stand there trying to enjoy the view when a barefoot toddler splashes you with eau dégastrantarite. The fountain cycles between mist and flood, and you're never quite sure if you're supposed to admire it or run from it. Meanwhile, influencers in long dresses try to pose as if they aren't soaked up to their knees. Spoiler, they are. Toulouse, the pink city. And by pink, they mean various shades of tired brick and faded hope. It's like someone took a bowl of terracotta, sprinkled in confusing trams, and served it warm with a side of academic anxiety. The locals call it charming. I call it a construction site disguised as a lifestyle. Let's begin where all misguided tourism starts. The Place de Capitole, the beating heart of Toulouse. If that heart had heartburn. Big square, big buildings, big expectations, and yet, somehow, it feels like a stage built for a musical that was canceled. The Capitole looks grand from afar. Up close, it's mostly closed for renovation or blocked by a mime. There's a Starbucks, a political protest, 3 couples fighting in French, and a group of students smoking under a sign that reads, "No smoking allowed." Want to enjoy the view? Good luck. Half the cafes have chairs facing a McDonald's. It's the type of place where pigeons fly lower. Just to remind you, they have the airspace advantage. Welcome to Nantes, the only city in France where a robotic elephant makes more sense than the urban layout. Nantes is like if Jules Verne, Salvador Dali, and an electric scooter engineer decided to design a city. And yes, it sounds like an amazing idea, until you get lost trying to find the bathroom. Here, public art is everywhere, which means sometimes you're in a park, sometimes you're inside an installation about the Apple cycle and the death of the naval industry. Let's start where every tourist goes with hope and leaves with doubt. The metallic delirium called Les Machines de Lille. Imagine an amusement park built in an abandoned warehouse by crazy artists with public funding. You walk in expecting something magical, and you see a giant elephant made of iron and wood slowly walking while spraying water on random children. It's beautiful. It's strange. It's a little scary. There's also a carousel with mechanical fish, moving insects, and tourists trying to figure out if it's art, a toy, or a ritual. Spoiler, it's expensive, it moves slowly, and yes, the elephant already sprayed you before you could get a good picture. After this surreal robot, what could be better than a medieval castle right in the heart of the city? Because hey, why not Nantes? The castle is stunning from the outside, but on the inside,
It's been converted into a city museum, complete with panels in 5 languages detailing how the dukes went broke and how the port transformed into a crepe store. You ascend towers, stroll over bridges, admire suits of armor. Then, out of nowhere, you find yourself watching a documentary on gentrification and the decline of river commerce. Nothing fits. Nothing makes sense. And you walk away with 3 nice photos and a cultural identity crisis. Rennes, where every building leans, every sky is gray, and every local has an opinion on cider. It's the capital of Brittany, which means rain, galettes, and people who only listen to music in regional dialect. Here, everything is crooked. The streets, the houses, the emotional climate. But it's considered authentic, so of course you feel bad for hating it. Let's start in the center, where the architecture looks like it came straight out of a drunk fairy tale. Rue du Chapet. The houses are beautiful and crooked. Nothing is straight. Nothing is dry. Nothing feels 100% safe. You walk on cobblestone streets clearly not made for human knees. It feels like strolling through a vintage Instagram filter, but with water damage. You snap a smiling photo next to a 15th century house, unaware that behind it, there's a dive bar selling hot cider that tastes like shampoo. And beware, every corner hides an unannounced, alternative theater performance. Sometimes it's just a stuffed chicken with a megaphone. Sometimes it's politics. The city's grand park. Elegant, calm, soaked. For 11 months of the year, it's basically an open-air aquarium. You stroll among depressed rose bushes, algae-filled fountains, and couples trying to salvage their relationships. It boasts French, English, and botanical sections, all in a permanent state of romantic mud. You try to sit on a bench, but, of course, it's been drenched since 2004. It's the kind of place that whispers, you won't see the sun, but you'll feel the emotional dampness of all France. So, should you visit France? No, absolutely not. Don't do it. Don't go to the country where the bread is better than your will to live. Don't walk the crooked streets of Lyon, only to discover that sadness pairs well with croissants. Don't get lost in Strasbourg's canals while a pigeon judges you in 4 languages. Don't pay €12 for watery wine in Bordeaux just to end up emotionally moved by the reflection of a building on the wet ground. And definitely don't go to Nice expecting glamour, only to leave with sunstroke and melted gelato in your shoe. Because here's the truth. France doesn't care if you like it. It's rude, it's expensive, it's confusing, and somehow, it's still more beautiful than any dream you've ever had. You'll hate it. You'll love it. You'll swear you'll never come back. And then, you will. So if you still want to visit France after everything you've seen here, I dare you. Book the flight. Try to pronounce Montpellier correctly. Get lost. Get scammed. Get sunburned on the Riviera. Fall in love with a baguette and regret it all later. And when you do, leave a comment and tell us what broke you first. Hit like if you've ever been personally victimized by a French waiter. Subscribe if you want to keep surviving Europe with us. And comment below, what's the one French city you'll still visit, even after this nightmare?